On today's episode, it seems like the hot stove is getting hotter. We'll tell you why that is with a couple players the Cubs are targeting. Drew Smiley declined his mutual option. We also touch on a few other news and notes right there. And then a did you know to wrap up. It's all on this edition of Locked On Cubs.
Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cubs alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Pleased to be with you for a Thursday episode, and thanks for making us your first listen every day. We're lifelong fans taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Well, Sam, it was certainly another news-heavy day in Cubs land, and with the offseason full steam ahead, it's exciting every day to get some chatter, to get some discussion, to actually get some established reports. So we're going to break some of those down today. How's everything over there?
Matt, I'm not going to discuss the 8-year shortstop thing because a week and a half ago on this very show, we both said they weren't going to go that long. So that doesn't startle me. It's going to be a shorter deal with a high AAV.
Right.
Hopefully that one of those guys take that. There is no reason to give an 8-year deal. Now let's go.
One person who is going to have a shorter deal is going to be former White Sox Jose Abreu. 670 the scores. Bruce Levine is again increasing the temperature on the hot stove with updates on Wednesday of the Cubs' pursuit of the former Pale Hose infielder. He says Abreu, who will turn 36 in January, remains near the top of the Cubs' wish list in free agency, as sources first told him back in mid-October when we also then followed up on this program. It's no question that the Cubs offense needs run-producing bats in the middle of the order. And then he goes on to say, Bruce does, if they get their way, the Cubs will act quickly in the Abreu sweepstakes in free agency. In addition to this report, Levine said it earlier this week that a 2-year contract may work well for both parties. So an early signing as free agency officially opens up this week, I think is a possibility. And it looks like it might be with a player just down the road. Your thoughts?
Well, I have some concerns because I don't love that they're meeting with Josh Bell and Trey Mancini today. Jose Abreu is at a completely different level than those guys. I understand some people want, have insinuated Josh Bell. That's a hard stay away for me. The second half of the season, he was not very good. In the postseason, he was not very good. And oh, by the way, he's a switch hitter that likes to hit lefty better than righty, and I don't want people taking away at bats early in the year from Matt Mervis. Mancini was miserable in the postseason. Mm-hmm. So in terms of your question, I'm excited about Abreu, but I hope. Look, here's what I'll say. There's a lot of rumors. I'm trying not to overreact to everyone. I don't want the Cubs to sign every single, what's the word I'm looking for, middling guy. So I like Pablo Lopez if he's the second starter that they sign, sure. Right? I don't, Josh Bell instead of Abreu, Pablo Lopez instead of a big guy. Will it be Dansby Swanson instead of Trey Turner? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to
no instead ofs.
Yeah, I don't want to get any of these B guys. Yes, Abreu is who I want. He fits perfectly against left-handers.
He really does.
Against left-handers, you could play him and start him at first base. Against righties, he can DH. He is a very good career hitter at Wrigley Field. Now, the one thing I'm a little concerned about is that I've been hearing some rumblings about him to Houston, where I think that also is a perfect fit for him. Why? Because Jose Abreu hates the cold. He is a notoriously bad April hitter. And we know April in Chicago isn't great either way. But right. I'm excited about this. I hope they get it done early. I don't like, I don't, no disrespect. Mancini makes a little sense if you don't get Abreu for the same reasons why Abreu makes sense. Josh Bell makes zero sense. None.
It doesn't. I don't see why there's buzz about that. I feel like the Cubs and Jed and Carter Hawkins are doing their due diligence. They're at the GM meetings. All these players' reps are just down the hall. And so if it leaks that, okay, they're meeting with Josh Bell's
Right.
people, they're
Sure.
meeting with Mancini's people, okay, then that's fine. I'm not getting my balloons out for that. Jose Abreu is just such a better player than those dudes, and he's a better fit for this team. Anybody they're going to bring in is not going to take away, I think, plate appearances from Mervis, because any of these guys are going to offer flexibility and you could pencil them in at first base or DH. But Mervis from the left side, Abreu, in parentheses, Mancini perhaps, but especially Abreu from the right side, those guys could interchange. And you could also, if need be, work in a rookie player more slowly and then DH somebody else.
Right.
Abreu plays first. So I don't know. I think Bruce Levine has been, if this was a horse race, he's many lengths in front on this. I get why there would be some Houston momentum there, but I really think there is some legitimate buzz here with Abreu coming to the north side, being in the blue and red. It gets me fired up because, as we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, okay, Carlos Correa, we already signed Jose Abreu.
Right.
So you could be next, bro.
Yeah,
you could be next.
Quick correction. Josh Bell wasn't as bad against left-handers as I thought. I just pulled up his statistics, but in the playoffs, he was benched every time a lefty pitched. Now maybe that's because Drury's better. I don't know, but I've never been a huge Josh Bell fan. He hits the ball on the ground too much for my liking for his power. But yes, everything you said I agree with. I hope they get it done early, and I agree. It's a great point, Matt. An early signing in free agency is important to lead to further signings in free agency. Hey, obviously the Cubs, it's like when they sign Lester, right? It's like, oh, these guys mean business this year, right? Signing Jose Abreu the first week of free agency is okay. The Cubs mean business this year. And, just because they don't commit to an 8, 9, 10-year long-term deal doesn't mean they're going to be cheap. I just hope they sign the right guys.
Well, how about this for a recruiting chips? I got 2 early signings for you. I got Jose Abreu and Kodai Senga, because NBC Sports Chicago reported that the Cubs already in touch with him and his agent, and the big nugget there was his people also represent Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah, well, they've been in touch.
And Suzuki has been in touch, and he speaks well of his first year with the Cubs. So you make your Google Slides presentation to Correa, and you bring up one slide. It says, hey, in the last couple weeks, not only have we, showed you what we have coming back, but we've already solidified and made these 2 big additions. I mean, that would really be something. 1 player would be great, but 2 would be incredible. And I think Correa is going to be 5 years for $175. Go ahead.
Now, you're wrong on that.
That's a 35 AAV. What are your thoughts? On either the recruiting side or the Correa numbers?
6 for $240.
Wow.
Look, I've said this a lot. There needs to be 4 signings that really matter.
All right, what are they?
The Abreu thing is really has come on here the last month, so I'll say 3.5.
Okay.
A middle infield stud.
3 and a hook.
A starting pitcher stud. A center fielder that could defend, and Abreu's the hook.
Wow.
Those 3.5 things need it. Now, if they don't sign Abreu and they sign Mancini, but they do the other 3, fine.
Right.
Fine. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be a Correa, Bogarts, Turner, Senga, Rodon, whatever, and a center fielder that can go catch the baseball. Those are the things that have to happen. Anything less.
Here we go.
Because I'm starting to get upset because I'm seeing a lot of anything less. You're talking through what about competing this year. Those 3.5 things need to happen. Okay, and then we could talk about postseason baseball. I'm not going to come up here and lie to our listeners and say, hey, it's postseason or bust if the only move we make is Pablo Lopez, okay, and Dansby Swanson. That's not going to get it done.
That's
get
incredible.
It done.
That's incredible.
No, because I'm tired of it. I've defended Jed Hoyer a lot through this. I think he's done a nice job. Now it's time. Enough with the spending. Why spend it?
But those all would be intelligent spending, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I don't want intelligent spending being like, hey, we saved a few pennies, and instead of signing Rodon, we signed Tyler Anderson, and we really think he's good. No, get it done.
Oh, I love it. You get me jacked up.
No, because it's
don't you love the hot stove?
The fans deserve it. I want players.
Got burnt.
I don't want to watch Ortega anymore. You?
I do not. Don't ask me that ever again. I don't like that.
Okay, you're right. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, one player that may not be returning to the Cubs is Drew Smyly, but there's still maybe a window to do that, plus some other news and notes, and we get to that all coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by SimpliSafe. If you've thought about securing your home with home security but have been putting it off, you'll want to listen up. Right now, Locked On Cubs listeners can order the #1 rated SimpliSafe home security system for 50% off. This is their biggest offer of the year, and you won't want to miss it. We mentioned a shortstop. We mentioned a big-time pitcher. We mentioned a center fielder that can go get it. And out of all those options, that's going to keep, especially defensively, keep those pitchers safe. Okay, and imagine you could do that with your home, because at the end of the day, at the end of this offseason, Jed Hoyer is going to be ranked one of the best Cubs offseasons, just like SimpliSafe was named the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report, a third year in a row. SimpliSafe is the whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion that alert you only when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system that Locked On recommends. Get 50% off any new SimpliSafe system at SimpliSafe.com/LockedOnMLB. This is their biggest discount of the year, so don't wait. That's SimpliSafe.com/LockedOnMLB. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We do want to get into some news, okay, because Drew Smyly, when we were on the air yesterday, as a matter of fact, declined his $10 million option for 2023, but the Cubs still want to work on a new deal. We've talked before, Sam, that the 33-year-old lefty adds value at the back end and could possibly even be a unique piece out of a playoff bullpen. Would you want to see them pursue bringing him back, or is there enough depth already here?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. It depends what the money is, what he wants. I don't think mathematically, with all these starting pitchers that we're talking about and all the names the Cubs are connected to, that he's going to be a starter. Maybe he's the sixth guy. Maybe they explore a six-man rotation. I doubt it, with all the depth that they have that could just, throw guys 5 innings and bring in Thompson or whatever. But I think Smyly as a long inning guy, as a piggyback guy, has tons of value. Thought he pitched really well this year, like Adrian Sampson did. Smiley's got a bit more of a track record in the big leagues. So we'll see what happens. I think Smyly wants to be here. I don't think it's a make or break thing. Hearing the Smyly news isn't going to make me pull over and call you in the off season.
Yeah, right. That's that's a really good reference, actually.
Yeah. It's not news that I really think really moves the needle one way or the other. But if they feel like I feel like him almost, and I know it's not going to happen like this, he would be a guy late. You're like, oh, here's what we did. What are we missing? It's like, it's, no disrespect to Drew Smyly, but it's like, let's see what we could get first and see if we need him. But that's not how the business works.
Well, and make sure you do call me because that's going to be a fun part of the offseason. I love that.
Well, no, when anything drops within 15, 20 minutes, unless I'm really far away, when anything big drops, we're going on.
Well, I don't know about 15, 20, but maybe within the hour.
We're not waiting an hour when they sign Senga. You drive home and you don't have to listen. You don't have
I
to
should get up from my school and go. All right.
Well, yeah, I guess unless it's in the middle of the school day. I didn't think of that.
It's possible.
But I don't want you taking any notes. We're going live, and you don't need to prepare and host it. It's called a reaction piece.
I'll be it's a reaction.
They trade for Ohtani. We don't have to go one segment two. We're gonna do no. We're talking about Cubs baseball.
I gotcha. All right. Well, that'll be good.
Sorry, I'm a little bit fired.
I got that game plan.
I got a big softball game tomorrow.
And then just to follow up, then Bruce Levine also mentioned about Corey Kluber, and he shouldn't be a Cubs target just because I'm not sure they need more back end options. It's all the same pool.
It's all the same pool.
I don't want to swim it. I don't want to swim in that water anymore.
10-10 with a 4.34, 164 innings, 139 strikeouts. We got 80 guys like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you can only carry 40.
No, you got 175 of the same pitchers. I want a guy that strikes out 220 men.
Okay, Randy Johnson.
No, it's not that much. 220 and 180.
No,
innings.
I know.
Let's go get some guys with stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine the phone call when DeGrom signs for 2 years, 90?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really about it with the news and notes.
Well, there's more. Listen,
and,
look.
Martin Perez was also met with by the Cubs.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because Martine Perez,
the left-hander. Oh, I called him Martin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Martine Perez.
Martine, yeah. Well, listen, you haven't exactly had a great week with pronouncing pitchers' names. Go ahead.
It's going to be Jose Urquidy.
Finally. Go ahead. You got Perez. I didn't take any notes on him.
Well, God forbid. So Martine Perez had a phenomenal year last year.
He was really good.
12-8 with a 3.26. Excuse me. 12-8 with a 2.89 with a 3.26 FIP.
Wow.
Again, my issue with him: 169 Ks and 196 innings. Not saying you have. I know
a lot.
I know everybody. You don't need strikeout guys everywhere. But here's a guy that's 31 that for the first time all year had a phenomenal year, didn't strike out that many hitters.
Right.
Is it a fluke? I don't want to disrespect him like that, but I don't see, again, that signing would just be like we're trying, guys. We really are. We'll see what happens. It's not
right.
It doesn't move the needle that much. I mean, now sure, if he had a 2.89 again, but the guy never had an ERA under 4 before last year. He's 31 years of age.
Yeah, and I can't imagine it'd be more than a 3-year deal.
No, it's another deal that's like
instead of deal.
Yeah, it's like taking a shower in lukewarm water instead of really getting it hot. You know what I mean? It's a horrible analogy.
Right. Well, you tried though.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like, okay, yeah. I guess this is good enough.
Right. Absolutely. No, it's pointed analysis.
Pay the water bill.
Well, we've definitely mentioned a lot of players today, so we know we can at least confirm that the Cubs are active, and they're definitely doing.
I can't confirm that.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of reports that say.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm not in the room with Hoyer.
Coming up next, a little bit of Did You Know to round out this goofy episode. Stick around. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Speaking of first listen every day, I have the debut of the Locked On shirt that says that phrase on the back here. Wore that to school today, and nobody cared. All right, here we go. So, no laughs from that? All right.
No, I laughed.
All right. So, people know what's going on. So,
I laughed.
So, did you know today, Sam? Again, we're doing this from the draft from 2000 to 2019.
Yeah.
We already did 2000, that was the D train. We did 2004, that was Sam Fold. And now we're going to 2006, where 5 of the 50 players made it to the major leagues. That's 10%. This player was a right-handed pitcher that was selected in the 5th round.
2006 draft was Tyler Colvin was in that draft. Jeff Samardzija was in that draft.
Right.
It
is Jeff Samardzija.
Yeah.
The right-handed pitcher out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He was a two-way star with the Fighting Irish, could have played in the NFL, chose the baseball route, and it paid off for him as he graduated to the Cubs, had actually a sizable MLB career, also played for a couple other teams. I remember there was a lot of buzz about him on draft day just because he was down the street in South Bend, and he proved to be a major league starting pitcher.
Now, was Colvin 1st round, Samardzija 2nd round?
Well, I have in my notes Samardzija 5th round. Is that right?
Oh.
Unless I miswrote it.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I have 5th round here.
Okay, I think Colvin was the 1st round.
He got a higher bonus.
Okay.
Than most around him.
Cool. Awesome.
What are your memories of the Shark?
That's Samardzija?
Yeah.
Never thought he would be great.
Really?
I never really bought the hype. He was a good pitcher on a lot of bad Cubs teams. I believe he made an all-star team once. Now, Tyler Colvin in that same draft, shout out to Nick Cozy, one of his favorite Cubs of all time. I thought Tyler Colvin was special.
Yeah,
let me tell you,
he had flashes for sure.
In the 2010 season, there was a large portion of it when Tyler Colvin was hitting leadoff and Starlin Castro was batting second, and I was telling everybody at school, this is going to be a future. These guys are studs. And then if you remember with Tyler Colvin, he had that accident in Florida. At the time, it was the Florida Marlins, where he got slashed by that broken bat in his – do you remember that?
Vaguely.
I believe he was on third base in foul territory, and a broken bat came and speared his midsection.
Oh my gosh!
The wood, and he was just never the same guy. The rest of his career, I believe he went to Colorado after that.
DJ LeMahieu trade.
No, I believe that was for Ian Stewart, but you could be right. You might maybe he was in that. I always thought of that Ian Stewart trade. It's one of the worst trades that Theo made. It was DJ LeMahieu straight up for Ian Stewart.
Oh, I'm not sure. You might be right.
But was Colvin in that deal? I'm not positive.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a 1-for-1. Oh, boy, was Ian Stewart awful. Remember him?
He was terrible.
Oh, was he a joke?
I don't think he even finished the year.
That was one of those trades that Theo made.
I think he retired.
Where he was trying to say, hey, batting average isn't that big of a deal. We need higher on base, higher power. We could deal with strikeouts. And his thought process was in the right place. But my Lord, did not work because DJ LeMahieu and Coors Field were a match made in heaven. He ended up having some great years, and Ian Stewart, one of the worst left-handers that I've ever seen don the blue pinstripes. That kind of went awry. I know that's not what you wanted to do.
That's not awry. It's good.
Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, Samardzija. I mean, remember Samardzija's big thing? I believe he was traded to the A's. He was part of the Addison Russell deal, right?
Yes.
That was Hamill too. I think it was Samardzija.
It was a package, yeah.
It was a Samardzija Hamill for Addison Russell. I'll never forget. I was such a diehard I was such a diehard Starlin Castro fan. I was at I think it was right around July 4th, wasn't it? I think I was at like a July 4th party. I was in a hot tub and somebody broke the news the Cubs traded for Russell and everyone was happy. And I was so sad because I'm like, oh boy, Castro's days are numbered. I literally said out loud, I go, they're going to win the championship and he's not going to be a part of it. And I was right.
Wow, boy. So this goes back many years with you, huh?
Man, do I love this team.
Yeah.
I think it was July. I think it was July 4th on the dot. I'm almost positive I was at like a July 4th pool thing.
Yeah, no, that was a huge trade in Cubs history. Looking back,
2014.
Yeah. All right, well, it's always good to reminisce a little bit. We'll keep doing that as the weeks move along. Remember, we're also going to keep tabs with player grades, any transactions that pop up, big or small. Again, there's deadlines coming up with players for the 40-man and protecting some prospects. So that'll be interesting. And then Friday's episode is the definitive one on David Ross as we evaluate his first 3 seasons with the Cubs. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button and all your favorite Locked On Cubs content. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. And remember, you can drop us a text, 312-834-4634. Right now, the plan will be to open up the mailbag again on Monday. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second, the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Locked On Sports Today is our 22-minute recap of the previous night in sports. It features local experts on each of the big stories, as well as the take of the day from one of the Locked On hosts. For Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.